Yeah, I'm from New Jersey. Our sax player's from Cleveland, Ohio, that area. Our trumpet player is from Virginia. Our drummer and guitar player from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Our bass player is from North Carolina. And the other keys player, Josh Blaylock, he actually is the only one that's from Nashville. Most of us, except for the trumpet player, went to Belmont University. And so I went down there. I did my undergrad in Philly for classical percussion. And then I actually went down to Belmont to get my master's and ended up studying piano. And that's where I met Josh and Kevin and Zach, the bass player. And we just kind of started playing music outside of school, just like tunes that, more or less tunes that I would write, some that Josh Blaylock wrote. But yeah, for a while I was like the primary writer. Nowadays it's more like everyone is a part of the writing process and we kind of write together. Yeah, so Cody Fry went to Belmont too. But oddly enough, he graduated before I got there because we're the same age, but I was getting my master's. So I got there. He must have graduated right before I got there. But I still knew of him, and I still, a lot of the guys in my band who are, I guess, like a little younger than me, went to school with Cody. And Cody's just like a super talented dude, great producer, great songwriter, great singer, great multi-instrumentalist. Anytime we were touring around, there's like a couple cities that, people really, really like Dynamo, and Syracuse was one of them. So I thought it'd be really cool to kind of like be outside of Nashville recording, but still have like fans nearby, and ultimately kind of bring the recording process to them and just kind of like give them something that they're not used to seeing. Whereas in Nashville, there's a lot of musicians. And so like a lot of people have experience in the studio and that's not as new of a thing for them. But yeah, so anyway, with the live recording thing, like, to be honest, like first and foremost, like it's awesome to have like people in the studio with you, especially when we're playing sort of like improvisational music and it's kind of spontaneous. And, it's not like, it's not overproduced music. So it's more of a live thing. But we still kind of wanted that thick sound, so I like called extra musicians, and like we don't normally have a trombonist or like an organ player, but in percussion. So like we just kind of like brought in extra people and like background vocals. That way we didn't have to do any overdubs. And so like first and foremost, like having the people there is such a cool thing, and it's really exciting. And then like the other thing is just the reality of not really having enough money to like fund an entire record. And so, if we sell tickets to the recording session, then it's, you can make some money that way and kind of cover some of your expenses. I mean, I don't think Dynamo would ever change their sound for the sole purpose of like making more money. And that's kind of just what that group has always been about, is just, we all are in that particular band because we get to stretch and like basically be as creative as possible, and we all sort of like push each other to kind of try to get outside of our comfort zones in terms of musicianship. So like being better players, being better arrangers, writers, like producers, like we're always just like challenging each other to like raise the bar. And so for us, like that definitely comes first before anything else. It's not like we're opposed to making music that like the masses like, you know what I mean? Cause we love pop music. We love Earth, Wind and Fire, and like those guys like sold tons of records. So it's not really that we're like opposed to like trying to write what people would love, but it's just kind of like we just want to write the music that we want to write, and that's kind of where that's at. And you know, and I don't think our goal is to kind of like be the next Justin Bieber or like, you know, so yeah, I mean, you're right. There's like more than one way to think about success. And I think for us, it's like, if we can make enough money to just like, you know, just continue to keep doing it as long as we want to, then that's success, you know? I mean, I think I just knew from a young age that I was going to do music professionally. And I always had like a band from a very young age, and just like, obviously the band's changed, the people changed, but yeah, I just was like 100% on board with like, yeah, like this is what I want to do, so I'm just going to do it. And yeah, we graduated in May, and that whole month of May, we were just like on the road with like a tour that I booked. So yeah, it was just like pretty much right away. We just kind of got to it. And I guess the deciding factor to answer your question is just like, the group is like super diverse, you know, and kind of like everyone has like their own style from where they're coming from. And so I think for all of us, that was like really exciting, because we knew that like we would be able to like learn a lot from each other. And, you know, we all just kind of have that one thing in common, which is like, we all love a ton of different types of music and like a lot of different styles. And we don't want to be boxed into like anything in particular. And so for us, it's like really exciting to be like, oh, cool. Like, you know, our horn players like love jazz, but they also love like Tower of Power and like that kind of stuff. And then like, you know, over on the other side of the spectrum, like our other keys player and our bass player, like don't really come from a jazz background. But it like, that's cool. You know, it's not that they don't like it. It's just like, that's not really where they come from. But there's so much to learn from like both sides. So I think that was sort of like the deciding factor of like, yeah, we should do this. You know, like we have a good band here. Touring still like will never be replaced, because people obviously want to experience the live show, you know, and like, that's like that's the band's whole reputation. It's just like, what kind of live show do you put on? So that won't ever be replaced, but like with, you know, with YouTube and just social media in general, just the idea of like being able to stay at home and just, you know, like release content that way. I think that's why like Vulfpeck has done so well. It's important not to like rush into anything. You know, I think it's funny that now 6 years into being a band, we're kind of like really making the most of like being at home and like rehearsing more and just like writing and trying to figure out like our sound. Yeah, I don't know. Like, honestly, that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned is like I really enjoy touring, and touring can be like really, honestly, like great experience too for like a band. But yeah, I think it's important not to, you know, let the quality of the music suffer just because you're trying to get from gig to gig and just like make the money work. And like the money can be really tough on the road too, especially, I mean, for us, we had like 8 or 9 dudes in a van. So it's like you're trying to feed everybody and trying to, you know, make enough money. It can be a tough thing. So, yeah, I think waiting to tour very hard until you like really feel like you're proud of like the product and like you feel like you're kind of giving the best that you can give. Yeah, I think just like quality, you know, just like even with like records that you're recording or like videos that you're putting out, like take the time to kind of just like really put everything that you have into it. And, you know, you might look back on it like years from now and just be like, oh, like we can totally do better now. And that's fine. But as long as it's like the best of what you can do in the moment, like don't don't sell yourself short, you know, like spend that extra time writing the song, spend that extra time like mixing it, producing it, whatever. Because this day and age, like quality stuff is like harder to come by. And that's the kind of stuff that stands out too. I mean, like everyone's like scrolling through Instagram, but if you see like if you see a song that's like just catches your attention and it sounds good, it looks good, whatever, like that's going to stand out from all these like people just kind of like recording selfies of them, like covering something, you know, it's like the quality stands out. So like the more you can just kind of hone your craft and pay attention to detail.